everyone, it's Cheryl from Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds. We are about to start week 4 with our 2 and 3-year-olds, and I thought I would just kind of go over how last week went, what changes I needed to make, what things I found out. One thing is I still have not read a book during circle time. They're not ready yet, and you know what? That's okay. That's what I keep telling you all, is that you need to know your class, and you'll know when they're ready for these things, and they simply aren't ready. They love to listen to books. During centers time, a teacher will sit back here on this little couch, and a few children will come up and she'll read and they'll gather. She also might sit down at our circle time area during centers time. She'll read a book and children will gather. So they still are getting that opportunity to listen to books. It's just not happening during our circle time. I keep the books in my circle time basket for when I feel they are going to be ready. I'll just keep them in there. But what they do love, they love anything with music. So we've been doing lots and lots of music. I've been filling up my Spotify playlist, trying to find different things that incorporate. We've done some simple counting, we've done some movement activities, clapping our hands, and we've been using juggling scarves, and we've been using instruments. So they've really enjoyed circle time, but in a more hands-on way, and that's fine. Right now, I'm just getting them to the carpet. And for the first time, we were able to actually do our goodbye sitting on the carpet. I knew they weren't ready before, but last week we were able to do it. What I do is I call the children to the carpet, and then I sing a little song. And then I tap each of their heads as I'm singing, and then as I look out our window through our door and I see whose caregivers or parents are here, I call them to the door and we say goodbye. So that was a first. It took 3 weeks to be able to do that. The other thing is that they are really getting to know our routine a lot more. I was chatting in my in our teaching toddlers and preschoolers group on Facebook. We were talking about how you just kind of know when they're ready to introduce new things, and we are doing that. We are really getting to know our routine. Some of them are actually remembering to throw their trash away when they're done eating. Most of them still need to be reminded, but these are all things that we started on that very first day, and they're getting it now because we're consistent. Day after day, doing the same routine, they're getting it. So this week is going to be kind of similar still to last week. We're still not changing all that much, but we have made some changes. So let me take you through and show you what our classroom looks like for week 4. In our science area, we have our big sunflowers that one of our families from last year harvested and brought it back into us. If you recall, each spring, our children, they plant mammoth sunflowers that get huge. And the parents always tell me they've never seen such huge sunflowers. And so I always try to find a family who will then bring it back in for us in the fall so we can pull the seeds out of it. So now most of the seeds are out, and we're just going to be exploring what it looks like with magnifying glasses. On our Play-Doh table, it's the same pretty much as it was last week. We have our pizza slicers, and we have our wood rolling pins, and then we have little wooden animals that they can stick into the Play-Doh. On our manipulatives table, we have our house puzzle that we had last week because they love it so much. Then we're going to be doing a little bit of one-to-one correspondence. We're going to be dropping the pom-poms into the wells of the ice cube tray. And so there's tweezers for those who can or who are ready to use them, but we also have some bug tongs there as well, which most of the children will probably at this point feel more comfortable using those. And then you can see the wood, it's kind of like a little mug holder that I got it at Goodwill, and then I got some wood rings off Amazon, and the children have been having fun placing the rings on it and then pulling them off, putting them on, and taking them off again. In our sensory bin, we still have our paper mâché houses that we had last week, but I took out the other wood people that we have because now I put kinetic sand in here. So we've changed it out. Last week there were blocks. This week it's kinetic sand. Last week we had the wood people. This week we have the little wood pegs, doll pegs. And then we have the trees, and we also have some scoops because I know they're going to want to fill up those houses with the kinetic sand. We're going to introduce our easel with paint this week using watercolors. And the reason I'm starting with watercolors is because we've had several opportunities to show our children how to use them at the table. So now we're just going to take it to a vertical surface so that they can brush the watercolors on paper on the easel. And on our light table, we have different magnetic shapes that the children can build, and they can also do some shape matching with it. And our reading area is the same as it was last week. We still have our doll house out, and we have our little bunnies that are in there, and the children have been having fun playing house with them. And in our dramatic play area, everything is pretty much the same. I just swapped out the felt food, and instead we have the wood food, and it has the Velcro in between it, so the children can take the little knife, and it feels like they're slicing through it, separating the pieces. And in our block area, we have our big colorful blocks out this week with the cars, so they can do some building. They've absolutely enjoyed playing with cars and using blocks, so we're going to put them on the train table this week. And then on one of our art activities is going to be finishing our family books. And so each child used the house printable that I have. I'll put a link in the description. They painted it with watercolors, and this week they're going to glue their family picture into their house. Then I'm going to turn it into a class book that we will keep in our reading area. So that's how we have our classroom set up for week 4. It's still pretty simple. It's always so tempting for me to want to add a lot more, but every year I have quick reminders that they're not ready, and so just little tiny changes each week as they get to know our classroom and our routine. Thanks for watching.